We're always excited to have Big T, Thurl Bailey in the Sports Beat studio, but especially today because he's got an announcement to make. You're joining the KSL Sports team. I'll let you let the audience know what you're going to be doing for us.
Well, I'm starting a podcast, and KSL's partnered with me on my podcast, and it's about stories. I mean, you think about stories, it's probably one of the most famous human traditions is storytelling. And it's about the journey. And so I want to take my listeners on the journey every week. Some will be sports, some will be other arenas. So I might get you on there to tell some of your stories.
My stories are not as good as your stories, but I can't wait to hear yours. Thurl Talk begins Tuesday, March 3rd. We're excited about this. We look forward to getting your wisdom, your stories, and your insight. I want to pick your brain on the Utah Jazz right now. Exactly. This is going to be, it's probably, I wish we were talking a month ago. It would have been a lot more pleasant, but things are obviously a little bit different now. This team's so up and down, Thurl.
Yeah.
You played the game. You know how this goes during a season, but this is really extreme where they had 19 of 21 wins, and then you have these streaks of losing. Who are these guys? Can you put your finger on it?
Well, that's the question. That really is the question.
Yeah.
I think that they have to answer themselves. Who are they? And nobody ask a lot of questions, obviously, when things are going right, and we know who they are. So all it really is about for this Jazz team is getting back to that. And when you're on the outside of that and you're a fan, you're in Jazz Nation, you're just wondering, well, what's wrong? Who's to blame? And it really is a collective blame. I mean, each guy has to step up. I think, from a basketball standpoint, it's the defense.
Yeah.
I mean, you're giving up 120 points a game after All-Star break. Towards the beginning, mid-season, you were one of the best defensive teams in the league. And so there's enough scorers on that team that I'm not ever worried about scoring. Donovan may be off one night, Bogey may be off, but there's enough guys in the system to do well on the offensive end. But even if you're not shooting well, if your defense is up to par, teams aren't going to come in your house and score 60 points in the paint if you're the Phoenix Suns. So that just can't happen when you've got especially one of the best defenders in the league, and Rudy Gobert. Now, it's just not all about him, but I mean, you heard Coach Quinn Snyder talk about it's a collective effort.
Well, that's what's so strange about this, is because during this Quinn Snyder era, when Rudy's been there the entire way, you counted on the defense. You didn't worry about the defense. And so as a former NBA player, maybe can you explain to the audience how a team can go from playing defense a certain way to all of a sudden having these issues? And like you said, Quinn talked about a collective commitment.
Yeah.
Why is that collective commitment there one moment and then gone the next?
Because I think sometimes, and it happened in my era when we had Mark Eaton.
Yeah.
You had a luxury of having a big guy in the lane that you knew was going to protect you. If your guy got by you, help me, Mark. Oh, he was there, right? And so sometimes you get too complacent with that. You get used to that, knowing that if you get beat, you've got Rudy's help. But teams are getting smarter now. They're trying to draw Rudy out, right? They're taking more chances of going inside, hoping that Rudy helps, and nobody helps Rudy, and somebody else scores. So you've got to give other teams credit. I mean, that's why they scout you. That's why they try to come up with all these different offenses to get past a guy like Rudy. You look at what Houston's doing right now with smaller players, and they're able to be effective.
Yeah. This is the kind of insight you're going to get on Thurl Talk. This has been great, Thurl.
Thank you.
Thanks so much.
All right.
Happy to have you on the team.
Thank you, bud.
Tuesday, March 3rd, download the Thurl Talk podcast.